This is Dale Callahan, and I'm here doing cast. Today, I'm doing this different on video, hoping, well, this is because I'm lazy a little bit. Two birds, one stone actually makes it easier for me to do it, at least in theory. So we're going to drive this way, and at least until it doesn't work anymore. So today we're talking about the issue of fear. This is something that comes up. I run a graduate program, an executive graduate program in engineering management. Some of you that watch this or pay attention, you know that. The rest of you don't care really. But we see fear all the time. Professional people, professional audiences, and fear drives us. It's really weird how fear drives us. I'm not talking about the fear of crashing in an airplane or being attacked by a lion. Some of you may have that fear, but stay away from the safari if that's the case. But the kind of fears that drive us every single day, the kind of fears that get in the way of doing the things we want to do, right? Fear literally stands in our way. So fear rules. Just think about that. Fear rules over so many lives. It does. It rules over your life. It rules over my life. It gets in my way and in your way of doing the things you want to do. So fear is something else does not rule, right? You can only have one ruler. You can only have. Are you going to let it be fear or something else? So I was watching Mike Lindell of the My Pillow guy talking about fear the other day and talking about how most things don't really ever happen to you. Most of our fears don't ever really happen. There's a lot of things we fear and they just never really matter to us. They never come to pass, right? So what is it we really want to do? But first, a lot of people that we coach, so I'm dealing with professional people. I'm dealing with people who've been out in the industry for 5 to 30 years, right? They're experts. They know what the heck they're doing. They know what they're talking about. And they will tell me they're not afraid. They're not making a decision. They're not afraid of going in business. They're not afraid of getting a promotion. They're not afraid of putting themselves on video. Be, but they're not afraid. What we find fear looks like, though, is excuses. Excuses. I don't have enough time. All these, and sometimes those excuses that you and I make are procrastination. You know, that word, and proud to admit that we're procrastinating. Why are we procrastinating? Are we too busy? We don't have enough time. Importance list yet. I don't have enough money. My boss won't let me. I don't know. The dog ate the homework. Whatever it is, excuses, procrastination, perfectionism. All of those are the same thing. And usually those things are right in the middle of fear. There's driving these things. So when I'm coaching people and talking to executives, talking to everyone, to an executive, and they're telling me these excuses, I'll say, what are you afraid of? And they get offended a little bit, right? What are you afraid of? But they are afraid. When you dig deeper, we're all afraid, right? That's what gets in the way of doing the things we want to do. Because here's what fear can feel like. It can feel like a panic attack, right? I mean, if you've ever experienced panic attacks, and believe me, I used to have them a lot. Right after I got out of college, to meetings. Now, meetings would break me into a panic attack. I felt like I couldn't get away. I felt like I was trapped. So even today, I don't like meetings generally. And maybe some of you have been in meetings, feel the same way, right? You do feel trapped. You feel like you can't get away. I mean, when you have that true panic attack, you can't breathe. It does feel like the lion is chasing you. It feels like you are you can't escape. Fear can feel that way. But a lot of times, fear just makes you frozen. No, I'm not talking about the song. What is it? Just let it go. Yeah, maybe you should let it go. we'll think about, no, don't think about that song. But it freezes you, right? You're just frozen. Stop. I mean, you can't start. You can't move. You're a lot of times that looks like indecision, right? We become about what to do. Indecisive is rampant. I've come out of meetings where executive teams, they can't decide on what seems like the simplest of things, right? Sometimes we can't decide on dinner, but we can't decide on the next action. How many meetings have you been in where people just can't action, right? Or you have a goal. What's the next thing you need to do? We cannot decide. Fear. What's driving that fear, though? Is it reality? If you're being chased by a lion, fear is probably a good thing. It's going to drive you to run faster. That's good. You should run faster. Probably not going to outrun the lion. You should have thought ahead and brought a weapon. But that's another story. There's real fears. There is a certain fear of heights that keeps me from going up on top of a building and trying to walk on the edge of the building or walking a tightrope. Fear of danger. But a lot of the fear that we have is just ego and pride, right? It's ego and pride. We used to require a video of the applicants to our program. And the thing that held them up when they're applying to a graduate degree, the thing that caused them more grief was the video, right? Doing a 3-minute video to tell us about yourself that wasn't going to be probably as many as 5 or 10 people would see it. That freaked them out. And perfectionism set in. They couldn't get the video right. They would tell us, we haven't had time to get around to doing it. And all you got to do, we got this crazy device. We just click a video. We would just tell them, just do a video. Tell us about yourself. But it froze them in fear because their ego, their pride, they had to get it right. Perfectionism, right? Some entrepreneurs, some people that you really, really think the world of, and you're very, you admire them. But when you peel back the layers, it almost looks like they don't have an ego. It almost looks like they push their pride aside for a while because they're willing to go out there, something, put themselves on the line, even though maybe they are afraid. And the rest of us, we look cool. Business cards. We look like we know what we're doing, but we're not putting ourselves out there, right? So fear is driven by your ego. And that's why the foolish people oftentimes seem to win. Is that weird? Is that just mother talks? And I won't give the business name, but a very successful businessman that my mom and dad knew when they were going to school. And she used to tell me he was the dumbest guy in school, right? He was the least likely to succeed, but he was also the guy that would put himself out there and do things and became a very successful businessman for it. All this is well and good, but we're coming into Christmas season here, and we're coming into a season where we'll be doing New Year's type stuff. Forgive my printer who just decided to take a life of his own. To New Year's stuff, and we're going to be thinking about our goals for the next year. What do we do? What do we do? Fear will start to get you. As you start to dream big, fear starts to get in the way. And as you start to take action, remember the famous sayings that, what is it? False evidence appears real. Fear, spell it out. False evidence appearing real. Counsel of your fears, Stonewall Jackson, who ended up shot. So maybe he should have taken counsel of one fear. Consistent actions, though. As we think about our big goals and what we're after, what are the consistent daily actions that you can take? Sometimes those small little babies walk us past fear. It's mostly the fear of indecision, the fear of first steps that get us. And if we can just think about breaking to accomplish, to be too afraid of it, but to think about the simple first steps to take, right? When we teach our kids to ride bicycles, we don't try to put them out on a BMX track. We try to just get them to do the first simple steps with training wheels, just to get on the bicycle. Maybe the first step is just to look at the bicycle. Whatever it is, what's the first step to moving toward the goal? And I love this quote that I found the other day, that you cannot go around fear. It's like going through a storm. You have to just go right to the middle of it. Consistent actions will help you do that. So hopefully this will help you think about, number one, you do have fear. Be real with it. And just think about the consistent actions that you can take to get around it. So I'm going to post this up. This will go to the Company of One podcast and probably go on YouTube, wherever. And hey, if this works in what I've been doing before, and if fear doesn't rule, then we will do this again next week. Talk to you later.